What is going on, fight fans? I have to get some thoughts on this. Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. Now, a couple of days ago, when this came out, my son hit me up and said, "Did you hear about Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis?" I said, "What about them?" He said, they supposed to be fighting. It's said that sometime this fall they're going to be fighting." And I thought, no, that can't be true. That just must be one of those internet rumors, that you hear. Then I got home and was doing a little research and popped up right there on ESPN, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis on November the 14th. Let's talk about this a little bit. And let's see what it says in this article. It goes on to talk about that Gervonta Davis could have had a rematch with Lamont Roach, and that Jake Paul was in talks of fighting Anthony Joshua, which I have heard about those. Lamont Roach rematch would be a good fight for Gervonta Davis and for us fans. And as far as Jake Paul goes, who only has 13 fights and is still a novice, I don't think that he could beat Anthony Joshua even at this stage of his career. But I do think that that would have at least been a challenge for him. I don't really understand this whole thing with Gervonta Davis. I'm looking at this. I'm kind of scanning through the article. It says, let's try to make sense of this fight between a 135-pound world champion and a YouTuber turned prize fighter who last fought at cruiserweight, which is where Jake Paul has been fighting. He's been fighting at cruiserweight for all 13 of his fights. If he fought at heavyweight for one of those, I really don't remember, but I thought he fought at cruiserweight all of these fights. I This is kind of puzzling to me because I don't really understand why this is a thing, especially with the type of size difference. Now, something did catch my attention looking through this article. It talked about how Jake Paul made a hit list, and it says that he made this hit list when he first started fighting. And you see the names crossed out on the list, been asked you who he fought, but I'm looking at the guys under it. You see Tyron Woodley, who he did fight. He has Canelo on there, as understandable. He did fight one of the Diaz brothers. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, my memory is kind of fuzzy right now. I'm pretty sure it was Nate Diaz he fought. Uh, he says he has a Usama on there. Fury, who he already fought. Tommy Fury, who he already fought. He has Conor McGregor on there. KSI, Gervonta Davis, and then Logan Paul, which I don't know why he has his brother on there. That's definitely not something we would take serious. But I don't really understand why he would have Gervonta Davis on his hit list. Gervonta Davis is a lightweight, even at his walk around weight. I'm gonna say Gervonta Davis might walk around at 153 to maybe 157, something like that. Where Jake Paul, who has been fighting at cruiserweight, I'm guessing walks around somewhere between 220 and 226. And I'm saying that before the Mike Tyson, I think it was the Mike Tyson fight where he, looked, pretty, he looked pretty heavy until he, got back in shape. So my thing is this, is this really going to be a serious fight? I have read that this is probably just going to be an exhibition. They still haven't talked about the glove size and how many rounds the fight's going to be, and all those, and even the weight, because I would assume that since this is happening, they're probably going to give Jake Paul some type of a weight he has to be at. What that weight is, I don't know. I don't see Jake Paul weighing 168 pounds, 172 pounds. I mean, he's a pretty thick kid. I'll be surprised if he can even get down to 175. Now, he said he can get down to 175, but I would be very surprised if he can get down to that weight. But to be honest, I don't really see the need for this fight, and I'll be honest and tell you right now, when November 14th rolls around, I will watch it. I will be interested to see what happened. I will be interested to see if Gervonta Davis can actually catch and clip a bigger guy. I know Gervonta Davis is a world class athlete, a world class champion, but we still have to consider size. Regardless of that, this is still a guy that's 200 pounds, even at Gervonta's walk around weight. This is still a kid who is still probably 50 pounds heavier than him. So, does he think that he's going to be like Alexander Usyk fighting Tyson Fury in the first fight, and he's going to be able to catch the big man and stun him and maybe knock him down? I mean, maybe, but I believe that there are weight classes for a reason, and I don't automatically jump to, well, the other guys the more skilled fighter, so he can do these things. He's not only smaller than Paul, but he's also shorter than him. So I think it would be an issue for him to get to his chin. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe Gervonta Davis can get in there and do his thing. But from what I'm hearing, this sounds like this is going to be an exhibition fight, and it's not going to go on either of their record, which which I'm surprised about, because I don't really understand why the Mike Tyson fight, who was 58 years old, I don't understand why that was an official licensed fight, but for some reason this one isn't. All right, fight fans, I just had to jump in here and give my thoughts on this, because honestly, I thought it was unbelievable. I didn't think that it was any truth to it, but apparently it is. Give me your thoughts on it. Do you like the idea of Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fighting? Are you against it? Are you going to watch it? Yes, we already know that it's a circus, just like a lot of these other things. But I really want your thoughts on it. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so we can keep talking boxing. That's all I got for this one. Until next time, I'll let y'all later.